Welcome to another episode of the Always Be Testing podcast. I'm your host, DeGrange, live and in person here at the Capital Factory, and I'm really excited to have Jennifer Rhima today. Jennifer, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me, Ty. It's a beautiful day here in Austin, so I can't complain.
Amazing. It's so good to see you again, and sounds like you might have some other folks here as well in Austin.
Yes, I do.
That's great. Well, maybe jumping right in. So Jennifer leads partnerships for Apollo. Definitely view her as a B2B SaaS and PLG expert. She's spoken at numerous conferences and is just a phenomenal resource in the partnership space, in particular in B2B SaaS and PLG. So you're in for a treat today. It's going to be fun, and I think we're going to get into some good stuff.
Thank you, Ty. I'm excited to be here, and thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Jumping right in, what is Apollo? Tell us about it.
So for those that are unfamiliar with Apollo, we're a B2B all-in-one sales intelligence and engagement platform. And we target mostly the SMB space. That's our bread and butter, but we are moving a bit upmarket to mid-market. So sellers, founders, they use our platform. We have a database of contacts, and then we have our engagement tools so you can reach out to those prospects. And then recently we've launched conversation intelligence meetings. So we're really trying to be that all-in-one tool
Awesome.
for these companies.
Definitely a smart strategy in the B2B SaaS PLG play. It seems like a theme I'm hearing a lot of kind of trying to expand and really wrap your arms around your users. And Round Barn Labs has been a customer of Apollo in the past, and we're fans. So
thank you.
Double
We love
whammy.
hearing that, and we love meeting happy customers. So good to hear it.
Yep, maybe some users out there in the audience. Tell us a little bit about just what you do for Apollo.
Yeah, I've been at Apollo for almost 3 years, and I joined to start our partnership programs from scratch. And now we've built out a team, and we focus on 4 different partner programs at Apollo. We have affiliates, we have agencies, technology, which are integrations, and then we have startup ecosystem. So we built it out 3 years ago, and now we're a team of 6 people focusing on these 4 programs.
That's amazing. I love to see the growth, and it sounds like it just kind of continues and builds on itself.
Yeah, it's been amazing, and I actually used Apollo before joining, so to come in and actually love the product, to come in and love the product and working on partnerships has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
So,
do you think that kind of helps, or is maybe required for someone to really do the role like you've been able to do it so successfully?
not necessarily. I think it definitely helps
Yeah.
because you can come in and hit the ground running. You know the product already, and knowing the product is essential within partnerships because you know what type of partners you want to work with. So I definitely think that helped a lot, but it's not a requirement. So people on my team, it's not something that I require them to have experience with, but again, it is a plus side.
That's awesome. And we think about, B2B SaaS, PLG, partnership programs that you've been running now and running it so well. What is something that kind of sets those apart from those that are maybe like best in class versus those that are just not operated as efficiently?
It's a good question. I think it's fairly easy to launch a partner program, but I think what sets some partner programs from others is instead of just focusing on new partner acquisition, you focus on enabling those partners. So that was something I really wanted to focus on at the beginning whenever we were a very lean team of we're lucky to have all these partners wanting to work with us, but we need to understand how to enable them so that we can activate them. Otherwise, you're just onboarding partners and they're going to go stale. So I think that's very important. It's easy to focus on how many partners are you acquiring each month. And, I'm at fault for that because we do still focus on how many new partners are we bringing in. But it is common that 20% of your partners are the ones that are active. So you have this 80% that are just sitting there. So I think it's important to really focus on that and give your partnership teams time to set up the foundation. So what I mean by foundation is having resources available for the partners to leverage. When they join your program, are you constantly reaching out to them so you're staying top of mind? I think that really will help you scale your program. So setting that up at the beginning is important. I think another area is leveraging data to drive decisions, tracking the partner-driven revenue that's coming from your programs. What are the activation metrics? What is the pipeline that is influenced from your partners, so that when you do actually build out the team and you're scaling your programs, you have the data to back it up. And then I'd say the last area is like building a culture of collaboration, not just externally, because within partnerships, and Ty, we've spoken about this, is you are actually having to build a lot of relationships internally so that your internal stakeholders are understanding the value of partnerships. So that's working with sales, marketing, customer success, product team to ensure that partnerships are fully integrated into the business.
Yeah, I love that. And this came up with another conversation recently where there was a real, and it was B2B SaaS, and there was a real, top-down buy-in and understanding of partnerships. I feel like that's something that not a ton of people talk about. It gets some lip service, but, curious if you have thoughts there. It just seems like building that culture of collaboration is so spot on, and I don't think people always realize like how much of that really matters when you're thinking about partnerships. As cliche as it may sound, I feel like it's very important to get that buy-in across multiple people.
Oh, no, for sure. And I'm still doing that today. We're 3 years into our partner programs, and at the beginning, there was a lot of documentation. There was a lot of sessions that I attended talking about why sales should take partnerships seriously. So there is still a need of educating internally. I think you're always going to have to do that just because it's new. Partnerships are fairly new in businesses, so you're constantly needing to highlight why it's important. I think when you have data to say, oh, well, we had a partner help us close this deal in a shorter amount of time, or we had a higher contract size than we normally have because a partner was involved. I think that's when people start to take you seriously. So having that data-driven approach, I think, will help in the long run.
Yep.
So yes, we're still struggling with that today of sales. Hey, our partner sent us this deal. Why are you not working it? Well, they have a lot of inbound leads coming in. So it's managing again like those internal relationships, which I think you're always going to have to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think one thing you said jumped out at me just there is thinking about like how much growth we're seeing in B2B SaaS partner marketing and partnerships, and it's like it's an exciting opportunity. Like you're kind of on that wave. I feel like we both are, and you've really you're illustrating its value, its scale, its opportunity. It's really happening. Whereas I don't think 5 years ago we were really having this conversation as much.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I lived abroad in the Middle East, as you know, and partnerships is not what it is in the Middle East as it is here in the U.S. I mean, you have communities like partnership leaders, which when I started at Apollo, I came to know about partnership leaders, and I was so fascinated that there was this community of all of these partnership leaders that are working in SaaS companies. And so, yeah, it's interesting. I think now it's like it's here to stay, which is very, very exciting.
Yeah.
So, yes, I agree.
It's proven its merit, and it's so rewarding when clients or the experiences you've had is like, oh my gosh, this is one of our most efficient levers, and it's a huge part of executive team's growth and strategy. That's the place we want to be, and I think it's taken this industry a little bit of time to get there, and I just think it's exciting times to be in it. Speaking of which, what are some of the things you love about partnerships?
I love the relationship building aspect and how cross-functional the role is. I mentioned it, you're not just working internally with your sales team, but you're also working externally with all of your partners' stakeholders, which it's a lot to manage, but I think it requires like a long-term game of building trust, alignment internally, externally. And it's so different than being very transactional, which sales is. I was in sales early on in my career, and moving into partnerships, it is really about building the rapport. And it's a win-win. And sometimes it's hard to forget that it's a win-win for both sides. Yes, partners want rev share, but they also want so much more. And I think understanding that is the beauty of it. Okay, I want this, but also how can I help you? And So mostly the relationship building side of things is what I love about partnerships.
I feel very similarly, and I think there's also this, I don't know, there's this cool vibe of like small business and entrepreneurship ingrained in it as well, which obviously you understand. And I think that, not a lot of these partners are sometimes bigger than the brands they're promoting. Like sometimes they're as big, sometimes they're multinational, they're huge. But a lot of times we're talking about maybe one single individual that is, a great assessor of these tools, or a creator, or someone that's integrating these tools professionally. And so I think there's just there's excitement around that, not necessarily pumping more money into LinkedIn, Google, Meta, not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
But it's kind of nice to democratize the performance marketing world a little bit, and not have all your eggs in one basket either, which is also nice.
Yeah. And I think like when you build the relationships, you will stay top of mind with these partners, which, sometimes it is hard to do that, because also these companies have their own focus. So I think it only helps in the long term.
Totally. A lot of people are kind of newer to B2B SaaS and like the types of partners that one can utilize. And maybe for the audience that are not as aware of the various partner types in our ecosystem in B2B SaaS, which you live and breathe daily, what are some of those partner types that you think about when you're kind of looking at a program, either a mature program that you're looking to grow and optimize, or maybe something that comes across your desk? I'm just curious to know. I think people would benefit from having a good understanding of that, and just like what are some of the players in the space to consider.
Yeah. When I had joined Apollo, I did kind of like segment the programs based on what I saw other SaaS companies doing. And I think these 4 programs, they may be called something different. So affiliates is very, very common. Referral programs, the integration side of things, whether it's integrating with cloud marketplaces, or integrating partners building to your API, or product partnerships. I think, and agencies as well. Agencies is common. But I'd say the least common, maybe we just call it this, is like startup ecosystem. I think there's a lot of companies like Intercom who have and HubSpot who have solid startup programs. So usually those 4, I would say, are like the most common partner programs that exist within SaaS today, which is great because if you were to start a new partnerships role in a SaaS company, you can kind of say, okay, this is like the approach that I want to go down. So those are the partner types that exist.
Yeah, that's super helpful. And I think that, I think a lot of there's a mix of audience types for us. We have, VPs, CMOs, affiliate marketers, influencer marketers, B2B SaaS people, platform people, product growth people. So we have this varying diverse community. And so I think that there's a skew of like consumer and B2B. And I think so like educating the audience a little bit on like, these are some of the building blocks of a proper B2B SaaS partnerships program is really valuable. And like thinking about those players a little bit, even for people that are maybe not, deep in B2B SaaS as much, I think it's good for them to be aware of. And then certainly for those that are, either in that world, I think it's an important reminder for them. What are some of the other kind of building blocks that you consider when you're looking at a program, maybe outside of the partner types, but just kind of your, you have to give us every last secret, but your like checklist of things of like, okay, I need to kind of look at this, I need to look at that. Is there anything that kind of comes to mind?
Yeah, and I'm happy to share secrets. That's why I'm here on the Always Be Tested podcast.
Yay.
But so leveraging a PRM. So I'll share like when I initially joined Apollo, what I focused on, especially because you're a one-person show, you need to be scrappy. So leveraging a partner relationship management tool, which is called a PRM for those that don't know. We use PartnerStack, and it's a common B2B PRM to use. So building out the foundation within your PRM.
A little shout out to the PartnerStack team.
Yeah,
too.
Shout out to the PartnerStack team. I love them. It's a really, really great tool. But so leveraging a PRM, I've been in roles before where I wasn't even aware of what PRMs were, and I was manually tracking everything, and that is very hard to scale.
Yeah.
So
You don't say.
yeah, right? I mean, you would know. So before I joined Apollo, I was working in a very, very small startup, and we had customers that were coming to us saying, hey, do you have a referral program? And I was like, no, we don't. We actually started looking at tools like PartnerStack. We got PartnerStack, but it was not at the scale of what Apollo's program is today. So I think I do speak to partnership folks today, and they're like, yeah, we're manually tracking. And I just think, like, in order to build trust with your partners, manually tracking is very, very difficult to do that. So get a PRM. I think, PartnerStack is a great option. There are others coming up, a lot targeted to more smaller startups. So if PartnerStack is not the right option because cost, for example, then there are others out there. Yep. So definitely leverage a PRM.
And you don't want your tracking to be in a bad place, because then you might get named in one of our fancy memes that we do, calling out people that don't track properly, which you don't want to be one of those people.
and that is one of the things, is like end-to-end tracking is so important. And I think attribution is tough even today. I would say, like, our program is pretty established. There's so much more that we need to do, but tracking is very, very important. So making sure that tracking links are working properly. And that's what a PRM will allow you to do, is make sure that attribution is being attributed to your partners and then also to your partner programs. So that would be the second in the building phase. The third is, like, automate trainings. Especially with the affiliate program, you're going to onboard a ton of partners who may not be very familiar with your product offering. So if you can set up a training that maybe you actually require these partners to complete, we did that. It was an hour training, and it was how to sell Apollo, and it talked exactly about our product offering, and that will help a lot. I think also if you have partners willing to complete a training, they're invested. So set up that training, build out a certification, have a partner badge that gets them excited and proud to actually share that they're a partner. And then lastly is data and reporting. So again, a PRM will allow you to have visibility into this data, but also making sure that your PRM is connected and integrated well with your CRM so that everything is flowing correctly. That's actually, like, what I spent the first couple of months doing in my role at Apollo, is making sure that before we start onboarding partners, you build the foundation and you're in a really good place. So immediately when you start to do outbound and get these partners on board, like, it's a very seamless experience for them. And I truly think that's why we've been able to scale the way we have, is because we focused on building the foundation and making sure everything was set up properly.
Love it. Yeah, you didn't mess around in terms of your, I think, detail, and just making sure that the partners had what they needed. And you're thinking about it in those terms. You're thinking about, like, the more we tee them up for success. Yes, it sounds cliche and maybe obvious, but it's amazing how often it doesn't happen. And you did it, and it's proven itself out. So kudos to you for that. Maybe a segue into more positives, and just thinking about, like, what's something that's, like, underutilized in a partner program, or what you find maybe perhaps a little bit underrated, that maybe folks should keep an eye on.
I think, like, I was very surprised with the impact that agencies could have. Starting off the program, we focused just on the affiliate side of things. And I think that's a good segue into adding on more partner programs. But we noticed that a lot of agencies were part of our affiliate program. And Ty, this is your day-to-day, so you would understand. But when we had the affiliate program, we had a lot of agencies reaching out to us saying, hey, we don't want this affiliate commission. We want to do so much more than just an affiliate partnership. And that has surprised me a lot. I mean, agencies do drive 20% of our partnerships revenue, and the rest is mostly affiliates. But that has increased massively. And I think the reason why agencies are could be so impactful in many areas of the business is because they have this direct relationship with their clients. They've built trust with their clients. Their clients go to them asking what tools should be part of their tech stack. Versus affiliates, it's a one-to-many relationship. So with the agencies, it's one-to-one, and the agencies help your clients be successful. So now it's interesting at Apollo is we've, every company has churn, but it's like, what can we do to mitigate this churn? And agencies, if they come in and they help your customers implement the tool, if they help them adopt, your different functionality,
better retention, better
exactly.
engagement.
Yeah, exactly.
Better LTV.
Exactly. There's so many benefits to agencies, but agencies, again, it's not just a referral relationship. You need to give them stuff. So they want co-marketing. They want you to send customers to them. I think that's like a huge focus for us at Apollo is leveraging agencies. And we've been so lucky. We have amazing agency partners, but we're just at the beginning of the relationship with these agencies. So I definitely think agency partnerships are very underrated.
But we better step up our game then, I guess.
And you can leverage PRMs for these agency partnerships. Like we use PartnerStack for our agency referral program. So it's a similar motion, but you need to invest more into building those relationships.
Yeah. I feel like there are these hubs that have so much compounding value that if you invest in them, then you can like acquire so many more customers via that versus kind of going, like you said earlier, that one-on-one, that one-to-one takes a lot more effort, a different type of effort. You're spread, whereas like going through an agency, if you get that working, you've kind of unlocked something pretty valuable there, it sounds like. Yep. That's amazing. Exactly. I love it. What inspires you to continue to improve this great industry?
We said it at the beginning, partnerships is still evolving in the go-to-market strategy. And many companies underestimate the potential of partnerships. So I just love proving how impactful they can be. Again, data is the root of it. So, I think it's still so new. And partnerships as a channel coming into the company and saying, oh, well, now we need to really factor in how does this affect our partnerships channel. That's very exciting. And so I think that inspires me to just continue doing more with our team of look at what we've built from zero and look at where we're at today. And a lot of the teams do rely on us. So that excites me.
It's come a long way quickly, like we talked about. And so I think that inspires me as well to think about where it could go given all the successes you've had and all the success we're seeing in B2B SaaS for partnerships and in our world. I think CMOs, leaders are taking notice. So a lot of that's due to your effort. What big things, what cool macro trends are coming that we should keep an eye on that maybe people in the audience should, watch for?
I feel like we're kind of in this position today. It's there's needs to be a bigger focus on partner attribution. I feel like a lot of the teams, paid teams, our social team, it's kind of like we're competing against each other to drive the same traffic. So I think like focusing on partner attribution is very, very essential. Yeah. And I do speak to a lot of partnership leaders and they're like, oh man, attribution, a lot of things are falling through the cracks. And that's hard because companies have first touch attribution. They have last touch attribution. So every company is going to be very different, but I think there is a big trend on making sure this, and even like PartnerStack, we have this discussion with them all the time, like how do you solve for attribution issues? So I definitely think there is a bigger focus on it in order to make sure that you see the ROI in partnerships. Yeah, you nailed it. Little plug for the newsletter, what I enjoy writing helps me kind of think and get good things out there, hopefully. And one of the things I saw, and I think it wasn't rocket science, but there's been this really big explosion of attribution conversation. And I think tech and awareness and people focused on it is starting to kind of help, I think, bring that to light more. And I'm very excited and hopeful about this space. It's a big topic for our team. It's a big topic for our industry. So I think you hit the nail on the head. I think we're in agreement there. Is there a attribution model or structure that maybe you think, a B2B SaaS PLG should consider or maybe look at? I know that's a little bit of a hot topic and you don't have to share, but like if one were to look into it, what doesn't seem like first or last is really ideal. I would guess. I mean, I'm not an expert at all. And it's something that it's interesting because like we were first touch and obviously, like with PartnerStack, if a partner sends a referral
Yep.
and let's say there's the 90-day cookie, regardless if it's first touch or last touch, you're still going to pay the partner out on that first touch.
There you go. There you go.
My manager and I, we have this discussion of just like, oh, well, I feel like we're doing last touch attribution now as a company.
Yep.
And so there's some programs that I think, we're losing out on revenue. And we actually are having a discussion on it this coming week of just like, okay, partnerships is a little different than the other channels. Can we make any exceptions here?
Yeah.
So again, it's not my expertise.
Yep.
I just know that we want the revenue attributed to us regardless if it's
Totally.
first touch or last touch.
Yeah.
But it's an ongoing discussion.
Yeah, you're too busy scoring the points to keep the scorecard in the stands. That's what I like to think about. Speaking of the fun topic of data analysis, we talked about this a little bit. Is there any other things to consider there to maybe like, hey, you should kind of keep an eye on this piece? We kind of covered a good amount of it, but is there a data analysis or tracking piece that you find to be maybe something to guide people to keep a lookout on in your space?
Yeah, I mean, I think like being in this role has forced me to be very data driven in such a positive way, but you have to look at the revenue coming from partnerships. So like our main North Star metrics are what are the registrations that we're getting from partners, and then also what is the revenue coming from partnerships, and what's the contribution that partnerships has in the overall like bucket of your company's revenue. So tracking that revenue is important. Activation metrics. And again, like if you have 20% of your partners driving the traffic, you need to understand like how many partners is that versus just somebody joining your program and they're dormant. So analyzing those activation metrics, again, something we're still working on today, like definitely have not nailed that down. I know it's a common issue across many different partner programs. It's just activating partners.
Huge topic. Yeah.
And lastly, and most recently is we built out an analysis to look at the free to paid conversion rate, because Apollo is PLG, as you mentioned, but we have a free plan. So looking at which partners are driving the higher conversion rate means like we need to focus on these partners. Yes, they may not be driving that many registrations, but that means they're driving good quality customers your way. Yeah. So that's been an analysis that I've really loved looking into. And actually we're running, like it's interesting because now that we have this data, the way we're leveraging the data is we're running a campaign right now with our affiliate partners who have been sending us the highest registrations, but then also who have the highest conversion rate. We're running a higher commission incentive for them.
Nice.
So I think like that's the way we're using data in our roles.
Awesome.
But I think those are the main metrics that we look at as a business for our partner programs.
Love it. You nailed that. What's something that people in the audience might not know about you?
Oh, okay. I'm an avid Google Maps reviewer.
Wow.
And I know there's a lot of local guides out there, but some of my colleagues give me a hard time because I have 20 million views on my photos. I love posting photos of the restaurants, the food. Yeah. But hey, and Google, maybe sponsor me because I get nothing out of being a Google local guide.
Come on, Google, get with it.
So that's something fun that I like to do on the side because my husband and I are big foodies. So whenever we're out and about, I'm like, I need to write a review. So I am a harsh critic, although most of my reviews are like 5 stars. So I guess I'm not that harsh of a critic. But yeah, so that's something people may not know about me.
Don't mess with Jennifer on the if you're a foodie in the area. We'll look to her for some suggestions. I already got some good ones today, so good to know. Any good book recommendations out there for folks?
Oh, I read these a while ago, but I would definitely reread them. I love The Alchemist and
Heard good things.
And The Ride of a Lifetime, which is about the Disney story. So very good books. I'm an audio book kind of girl, so there's a lot that I'm listening to. But right now I'm listening to a lot of fiction. So, but those are my two favorite.
I do like to get some fiction mixed in. I'm finishing up John Adams right now, the bio.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, Pulitzer Prize winner. So, no big deal. It's kind of
How long has it taken you to read
It
that?
actually reads pretty fast. It was about 600 pages, and it's kind of a nighttime read. Like it puts me to sleep. But I got through it. I don't know when I started. I do know. I started it in November, so it's been a moment. It's taken me a while.
Okay.
But I'm mostly just doing like maybe a chapter at night before I crash out. It's a good way to go to sleep,
okay,
as opposed to like doom scrolling
True.
or too much Netflix.
I do have almost 2-year-olds, so I feel like I like to decompress, and I'm guilty of just scrolling on my phone. So I commend you for actually reading.
I'm not that. Yeah, I definitely do the scrolling as well. And there's times when I don't read, but it's taken me a minute. But yeah,
Okay, let me know how it is.
I will. Keep you
I'll
posted.
spend the next year reading it.
It's very good. And then yeah, like drop some trip recommendations on us. You've done some really cool, international experiences and travel, and lived in Dubai. What do you got for us?
So I have been lucky to travel a lot. I've been to 41 countries. So to
Wow.
pick one, it's difficult. My husband and I did do a trip recently to Japan, which was incredible.
It's on my bucket list.
Oh, we did Tokyo and Kyoto, and it was just honestly like it's one of the places that I would go back to again. My husband are always like, "Oh man, Japan was amazing." So, yeah, Japan is fascinating, and if you do go, let me know. I'd love to share some recommendations. But then also one of my favorite places is Lebanon. That's where my husband's from.
Nice.
And we do go to Lebanon a lot, and it's just stunning. You go from
Wow.
sea to mountain in
Beautiful.
less than 2 hours, so it's really gorgeous. But yeah, we do love to travel. We traveled a lot more before we had our son. But yeah, so those are my two recommendations.
Amazing. I love it. Well, Jennifer, you've dropped some great, fun, interesting, informative stuff for us today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Where can folks find you that want to learn more?
Well, thank you, Ty. I do love LinkedIn. I'm guilty though of replying to. I'm horrible. I admit that I'm horrible at replying to LinkedIn messages. So if you do want to chat, just mention that you heard me on the Always Be Testing podcast, and I would definitely love to respond. But yeah, LinkedIn is probably the best way to go.
Amazing. So such a pleasure to see you, and thanks so much for coming in.
Yeah,
Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Ty. Thanks for having me.
You got it.